recording. Okay, let's see. How are people doing? Oh, it's 2 a.m. Elise, where are you joining from? Is the rain? Is it retrograde? It's Capricorn season. It's all of the above, Nancy. Yes, it's the winter solstice, the shortest day. Belgium, yes, it's late. Kudos to you for joining. Oh, you just bought a report. Yeah, you bought a report a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I always notice when it's like an international address. Good to see you here. Yeah. Yes. Kudos to you, Elise, because you are joining live. We're gonna get the replay as well. Okay, for those who are just joining, make sure you have your free or expanded report. And you will need a notebook, a pen, your favorite way to jot down your thoughts. At least drank coffee instead of tea a few hours ago wasn't planned. Oh, you didn't plan to come live. Well, you're here now. It's good because then you'll go to sleep and your subconscious will do the work. All these insights. Okay, so I know that we are still probably waiting for some people. Julie says she's feeling happy to be around family, more anxiety, overthinking than usual. There's a lot going on in the world. It's also Mercury retrograde, so we are all living in our heads a lot more than usual. Okay, where did I put my... Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. Oh, I like had music playing, but I had not shared it yet. Okay, I'm going to do that now. So we will start with a grounding meditation. I have a handy dandy presentation as well, so we can see that here. Okay. We'll see who else wants to join, but we'll start with that grounding meditation. I always like to do a grounding meditation because we're coming from different places, different spaces, at different time zones, different countries, different states of being, different seasons. So I want you to root down through your sit bones, through your feet, and close your eyes here. Start to roll your shoulders back a few times, then forward, then one more time up and down the back. Placing the left hand at the center of the chest, right hand on top of left, tap into gratitude. This next hour is just for you. I'm really excited for our times together. It's very timely. I actually didn't even realize it in terms of it was the start of Capricorn season and the winter solstice. I know sometimes I can get sidetracked and forget what's actually happening as well. But, our energy always knows. Astrology is just another way to read energy. Start to tune in to how you are feeling and really come from a deep place of gratitude that you have the opportunity, whether it's live right now or on the replay, to receive some very important information you need in the coming weeks to make decisions about your career. Pay attention to the quality of your breath and really start to lengthen your inhales here. As you're lengthening your inhale, see if you can extend out your exhales. And just forgetting about what happened earlier today, what will happen after. Just allow yourself to arrive into this moment. And with that, we'll start with 3 cleansing breaths. As you empty the breath out, take a deep breath in through the nose and an audible exhale out through the mouth. Take a deep breath in through the nose and an audible exhale out through the mouth. Another deep breath in through the nose, holding at the top. Take another sip of breath in and let it go out through the mouth. Seal the lips and start to breathe in and out through the nose. Feel the breath move through the back of the throat, down the length of the spine, and into the belly. Set an intention for today's session for our workshop. Allow your intention to organically come into your consciousness. If you need some inspiration, I invite you to be open, curious, and most importantly, to have fun. And just take a few moments of stillness here. Continue to breathe in deeply here. And as you're ready, gently open your eyes, coming back to the present moment and the present space. All right, welcome back, everyone. I hope you're feeling much more grounded after that meditation. So I know a lot of you already, but for those who haven't met me online yet, my name is Alice and I am a career astrologer. I created yoursaturn.com earlier this year, which is probably how you found me or through my Instagram account. And it is a way for me to share the power of astrology and understanding how it can help you navigate your career and give you an edge, not only in your career, but in business as well. Today, I am sharing more information and insights about finding your next job. Now, this is a big topic right now because it is Mercury retrograde, but there's also been a lot of layoffs happening this year in the tech space across all industries. And end of the year always feels a bit tough in terms of reflecting on what you've done and sometimes having some anxiety of like, okay, I need a plan for the next year. What am I going to do? Where am I going to live? There's just so much going on. So this session is designed to help ground you, give you some actionable insights on how you can find your next job and to really build upon whether you have the free report or the expanded report. I'm like, why is it not letting me move my slides? It was working before, and now it's giving me some trouble, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, so the agenda today, we did that grounding meditation. I'm going to share a little bit about my story, the origin of Saturn. We're going to talk about your report, kind of what are some of the astrological elements that are the basis for your career astrology report, and some specific insights I have, as well as journaling exercises and helping you find your next job. Okay, so before we get officially started with my story, I would love to know your level of knowledge for astrology. So I am launching a poll. Let me know. Put in your answers. Oh, and please pop into the chat where you are joining from. I always love to know where people are joining from. So I'm based in Los Angeles. We are experiencing a week of rain, which I actually like. I'm from the East Coast, love the rain. Love the when we get it here because it's just for a little bit. Okay. Long Beach, Katy, Texas, Portland, Oregon, Salem, Massachusetts, upstate New York, Denver, Colorado. Oh, ready for snow. Yes, that's so exciting. New York City. Someone else is in Los Angeles, Miami. Oh, don't worry. I don't think anybody has their camera on, so actually I don't see anybody when I'm presenting. Philly, hi Brittany, Wisconsin. We have people all over. And of course, Elise is joining from Belgium, accidentally live. Okay, let's see. I think everyone has answered the poll. So let's get back to the poll. And I am going to share the results. Okay, we have no newbies for this specific session. We have most people knowing their sun, moon, rising, and more. Wonderful. And some who are the astrologer in their friend group. I love that. Okay. That gives me a good understanding of where we are as a group. Okay, so moving on. My story and the origin of Saturn. So, like I said, I launched this earlier this year, about 8, 9 months ago. And really, Saturn is the manifestation of my intuitive hits. So I've been really working on my intuition, my psychic abilities for the last 3 years. They really opened up about 3 years ago when I moved to California, when I moved specifically to the Bay Area, very close to Half Moon Bay, if you're familiar. And I believe that Half Moon Bay, Big Sur, the coast of California is a really big portal. It has a lot of interesting energy that like really activates your intuition, your spirituality, spiritual awakening. So if you haven't had a chance to explore Big Sur, Half Moon Bay, like really like kind of like this middle part of California, I really invite you to just Google some images, maybe visit if you can, because it is a very magical place. And it really unlocked my psychic gifts because after living in the Bay Area for about 5 months or so, I started like doing career clarity readings that had a little bit of astrology in it. And then I started to incorporate like more things, and then completely kind of shifted into just focusing on career astrology. Now, for those who have followed my story, they know that I have not always been a spiritual person. I have always loved astrology and horoscopes, but not really kind of moved past that very superficial understanding. So, my background, a little bit about that. I'm first generation Chinese American. My parents are immigrants from Shanghai, China. And I went to Boston University to study communications and East Asian studies. And after graduation, I lived in Shanghai for most of my 20s, had a corporate job at a PR agency, working in hospitality and tourism, consumer products, and really just had a very steady growth in my career. Didn't really, I remember distinctly I was taking like a yoga class at my gym and I'm just like, why would anybody want to be a yoga teacher? I'm like, there's just no growth. Like, what is like any of like the success or the accolades that come with it? Like, it's just, I have no interest in this. And at that time, I had a very traditional understanding and perspective on what it means to be successful and what it means to grow your career. It's very traditional at that time. Fast forward, this girl, your girl, teaches yoga. So when I went through my spiritual awakening, my existential crisis in my late 20s called Saturn Return and the inspiration for the name of this website, I just realized I had to rework a lot of my belief systems. So drop into the chat, share with each other. Like if you also come from like a first generation family, your parents are immigrants, or you grew up in a household where what you thought, what you believed, really different from the way that your parents thought, your family members thought. So in my late 20s, I moved back to the US. I like moved back home, lived at home for many years, kind of not understanding like what I really was meant to be doing. Started an e-commerce business, didn't really like that. Then started this business 5 years ago. And it's really just been an evolution, a growth of who I am, the expression of my creativity. I never really thought of myself as a creative person. But I actually was just using my creativity to problem solve, fix problems at work, and to write. That was kind of like my like outlet and creating like decks. Pitch decks, presentations. That was kind of like as much of creativity I could get in my job. And when I stumbled upon yoga, mindfulness, astrology, human design, these things really opened up my world, and I found them to be such powerful tools that I knew that I had to share it with other people who also had these questions of like, what am I supposed to do with my life? I don't like my job, but I don't know what else I could be doing. And it doesn't seem anyone else around me feels the same way. So this is how we ended up here today in this digital room talking about career astrology and the origin of yoursaturn.com. I had the idea 2 years ago at the start of the Taurus Scorpio nodal axis cycle that we've been experiencing and just ended. And really, it has been a lesson of trusting myself, healing my money wounds, upgrading my money mindset, and so much more. So I feel like it's important so you know that I have a business background. I have gone through all the ruminations of like, should I get a job? Should I like start a business? What will people think now that I am a spiritual person who has a spiritual business? Am I throwing my career and my education away? Will my parents be disappointed in all the investments like that they've made in me? All the guilt, all the shame. Like I have been learning and I continue to process all of that. So your report. Everybody grab your free or expanded report. We're going to look at those few paragraphs, that summary. And if you didn't attend the first session, this will be new to you. I don't really have this on the website. So this is the basis of your free career astrology report, or if you have the expanded report, the summary. And we're going to look at a couple of these things today. But just so you know, this is what it's like. And if like you love to take notes like I do, I'll give you a few moments to jot some things down as I look at any comments. Okay. Yes, Half Moon Bay. Love Half Moon Bay. Breaking generational patterns and beliefs. Yes, starting a business is not easy, especially with the upbringing that I've had. I am definitely breaking some generational patterns and beliefs around what it means to start your own business, what it means to generate wealth. Okay. Yes, Christina, I'll let you back in. Okay, so we're going to move on to some journaling exercises. So take a few moments here to journal how the report makes you feel. What careers and businesses are you curious about after looking at the report? In the last paragraph, there are some things that you're naturally good at, and then some things that might feel a little bit sticky, may not make some sense. You're like, I'm not really sure about that. So take some time. I'm going to put on some music, and this time you're actually going to hear it. And if you want to share, feel free to drop into the chat. So I actually wrote most of the free report, that summary part, when I was in the desert last summer and it was like 120 degrees, so hot. So all I did was just stay inside the house, do a little bit of work, and all that quiet, calm energy was very conducive in writing this report. And my intention was always for you to feel seen and for you to understand a little bit more about yourself so that you know that you're not alone. Because sometimes the struggles that we go through make us feel very isolated. But most of us are experiencing the same things or different iterations, or have experienced or will experience at some point in our lives a difficulty that someone else does and it's experiencing. So we're never alone. And for me to be able to write it up, you automatically know, like, oh, if Alice can tell me about this, that means other people must also feel the same way. Okay, Brittany says, my report scares me. I'm a former entrepreneur, and my report tells me to dive back into that. I know this. The first time around wasn't financially successful, and I don't want to be on that path anymore. I totally get that. But, so many of us will go through trial and error. And it's not about getting it right the first time. It's about having fun, continuing to iterate. And it's not you, it's about you finding the right product market fit. I think I've experienced this myself when I have too much of my emotions in myself, like in my business. It can feel really tough when someone's like, I don't like this, or I'm not going to buy a ticket, or that's not interesting to me. I don't want to join like your program. But when you kind of take the emotion out of it and come at it from a curious point of view of like, okay, this is not what this person needs, but what is something that I could provide that really resonates with me and is something that someone needs as well. Let's see. Um, The report made me feel like I knew all the stuff already, but couldn't make it into a job, still struggling with it. Yeah, kind of combining all of that, amalgamating it. Yes. We'll work through some things that you'll be able to get a little bit more clarity. Biggest struggle is moving away from the South Node. Yes, like really safe, really easy. I definitely know that. I have been stuck in my South Node, but you can kind of have a balance and find a bridge job that helps you kind of move towards that North Node job. Miranda says, my report makes me feel seen. It really helps me believe in myself, that I know myself and should trust myself, especially when going after the career I want. And oh wait, this is jumping around. Oh, where did it go? Oh, I'm very curious about exploring my Scorpio North Node, but I feel like I'm still being pulled into accounting, bookkeeping, and admin. So something to note is Scorpio and Taurus. I put that in the paid report as well as Gemini and Sagittarius. These two signs can have very similar occupations, but just slight differences. So with a Scorpio North Node, maybe you find that you want to work at a company like a fintech company or a company that champions educating women around how to be more financially responsible and literate. It just has a slight tweak, industry, role, something like that. My biggest struggle is moving away it's from my South Node. I need to lean more into creative side of my job and industry, but also because it is in Capricorn, I have to let go of that security to move into family. Yes. My report confirmed that I've been thinking and feeling, so it's reassuring. I'm having a hard time with my Taurus North Node too. Okay, so my friends who have a Taurus North Node and an Aries North Node, this year has been like particularly tough just because we've been transitioning from one to the other, from a Taurus North Node to an Aries North Node. And for my Taurus North Nodes, as well as Scorpio North Nodes, more clarity is coming within the first few months of the year because you've been going through a lot the last like 2 years. And now you have an opportunity to really reflect. So be kind to yourself, give yourself the space to really work through that. And for my North Node in Aries, if you haven't been kind of focusing on your taking action, being a visionary, like really leaning into starting something, it is the start of the zodiac. It is very inclined to start businesses as well. But you don't have to think so black and white. You don't just you don't need to immediately start a business. You can kind of find ways where you're very autonomous, when you're working for someone else. Okay. Yes. Brittany says, how do I find my North Node? It's in your free career astrology report. You should be able to see it there. Um, Siddharth says, I've seen a lot of uncertainties in my job security over the period of the last 10 years. It has been a struggle to keep a steady job. The uncertainties create confusion in terms of why this happens. It is me or the circumstances. Okay. So as we do these exercises, keep in mind of why you got into your industry in the first place. And is it a matter of should or want? Is this something like more practical or something that you really desire and you're excited about? Patrice says, I'm stuck in my South Node of Aquarius. Leo North Node scares the heck out of me. Yes, most of my clients who have a North Node in Leo, they are so scared because it requires them to be more center stage and they just want to hide. And then our friend Nonfiction says, I've never felt any resonance with my Aquarius North Node. That can also happen as well. Some people, they don't resonate with it as much. And so I would invite you to look at your Saturn placement, looking at your second house placement, sixth house placement, 10th house placement / midheaven. And I will be talking about one of those today. Carol says, how are we to read the chart with planet sign and house? There's a lot there. Yes, I know. It requires a lot of information to read the table that I won't be able to explain during this workshop, but that's why I pick certain things to really highlight. And that's why you have your expanded report. So that's what you should focus on. And then people do readings to get all that information combined with me. Okay, all right. I'm going to take a pause on these questions and we're going to move on to the astrology basics. Now, I know some of you, most of you already know your astrology basics in terms of your sun, your moon, and your rising. But today, I will be illuminating something different for your sun, moon, and rising. Okay, so the sun, the moon, and the rising make up the foundation of who you are. Your sun, your moon, and your rising. Okay, so your sun is your identity. It's who you are, your personality. Your moon is your inner world. It is your emotions. And rising is how you view the world and how people see you. When I do my readings, when you get your expanded report, I always start with your sun, moon, and rising. I don't start out with any of the planetary placements that deal with career because you have to understand yourself first in order to understand what you desire, what you value, what you want to create in the world, and how you want to be of service. Oftentimes, when we are unsure about what we should be pursuing, should I do this job? Should I do that job? It is because there's something within ourselves that we haven't healed, we haven't reconciled with. Example, about 8 years ago, when I came back from Shanghai, I had heard from a friend that this was like a very helpful exercise in figuring out like what job to like get next because I was like, I come back to the US, I don't know what I'm really going to be doing. I don't want to do what I did before, but I have no idea what I would do next. So she said to write down on a sticky note all the companies you wanted to work for, all the roles, industries, like just kind of putting like sticky notes. And I remember like it was insane. Like my whole wall was filled up. And of course, I have like blue stickies, like pink stickies, green stickies, like all over the place. And then I look and I'm like, I could really do anything. I really can. And that's how you know this girl had a problem. Because when we can do everything, that means we can do nothing. It's too many choices. That means like I didn't really know myself. And that makes sense because it was my Saturn return. I was getting to know myself better, kind of experiencing that existential crisis. And so today, of course, there's only so much I can do in an hour's time, but it is going to be a really great jumping off point for you to do some more of this identity work, some soul searching work, and really being honest with yourself. I like to say that astrology is basically a tool for therapy, but it's a lot more fun because if I had to sit down with you and say like, hey, let us talk about identity work, like who do you think you are? What do you like? You'd be like, oh, I don't know. Like, what does she say? Like, it's hard because these are such abstract concepts. But when I kind of break it down in this way, show you like, well, these are the different parts of yourself. These are parts you need to heal. It makes it a lot more fun, a lot easier. And you also feel less victimized of like, oh, like I feel like this person is just coming after me and I'm the only one who feels this way. But when you look at astrology, there is no way that you're the only one that feels this way. Out of all the different permutations out there in our 7 billion person world right now. And of course, like if I can reflect it back to you, that means I can reflect it back to other people. Other people are experiencing the same things. Your moon is your inner world, how you process your emotions, your inner child, a part of yourself that you don't always reveal to others. It's what you need to feel safe and secure. And your rising is how you view the world and how other people see you. I like to say that it's kind of like the lens in which you see the world, like how it operates. Or like the world is like this. It's like your reality. As an example, I will go through my own. And this is in like the first paragraph of the free report and of the summary if you're looking at your expanded career report. So my sun is in Leo. It is a sign that really wants a stage. And I never realized this about myself because I never really identified being a Leo because my moon and my rising are in Capricorn, but I'm like, yes. I actually do love a stage. I love presenting. When I was back in the agency world, like I really came alive, like pitching to clients, like it's just like presenting. I loved it. And now I do it in a slightly different way. I'll do workshops like this. I'll do readings for people. I'll teach yoga, lead sound bath meditation. So just a little bit different, but still having a stage. I really enjoy empowering people as well. And God knows I love a compliment. So my moon is in Capricorn, and with the moon in Capricorn, it's an earth sign. It's very practical, it's very structured, it's also very career focused. Like I really care about achievement and success. And what I've had to learn is it's really not about how much I achieve, how much money is in my bank account, because those things are really just endless. It's more around my mindset and how I can really cultivate a mindset that is very supportive to my growth and less like criticizing and more really recognizing like, hey, like you have done a lot, and you have done enough. Rising sign again is Capricorn as well. I really see the world in terms of career and business. Like I always love talking about like, oh, so you're starting a business, or like, oh, tell me about like your career. Like, what do you like about it? What you don't like about it? Or like just talking about like business ideas. Like I like that's just how I am. That's how I kind of like see the world and how other people see me too. They're like, oh, like you feel like really grounded, or you don't really seem like the type of person who would be an astrologer. And I'm like, yes, these are all true things. But some of the beauty in this is that I'm able to share astrology in a very practical way. And for those who have been following my work, you know this, you've gotten the free report. Many people have told me like they've never seen something like that, never seen astrology shared in that way. Because I wanted to kind of remove some of the barriers of entry in understanding astrology. Okay, so next up, using astrology to identify your values. Okay, why am I talking about values right now in this Finding Your Next Job workshop? It is because most of you are probably feeling a bit, well, actually, let's see. I have another handy dandy poll. Right. Think, yes, this one. I want to know how you're feeling about your career. I love this poll feature. It's just so fun to kind of see things change around. And if you can't identify with any of these options, just drop into the chat your current situation. Maybe it's all of the above. Okay. And poll, share the results. Okay, so here is where we are. We have, let's see, almost kind of like an even distribution of like, have a job, looking to switch soon, doing well, looking for the next thing, was laid off, looking for a new job, and returning to the workforce. Okay. All right. So for those who are attending this workshop, like what I was saying before, you're probably just having some questions, some uncertainty, wanting some clarity around what's going to be the right choice. Maybe you have a lot of choices. Maybe you have no idea where to start. So we got to start with you because you are the constant in this world of variables. And the more you're able to understand yourself, the more discernment you'll have understanding the types of jobs, industries, people that you want to work with, the type of work. It's going to make things a lot better. Of course, this doesn't happen overnight. It's not going to happen immediately after just one workshop. But again, it is your springboard into just doing some of the reflection, maybe some of the hard reflection that is required of you. Okay, so make sure you have your sun, your moon, and your rising. So you can look at that at your chart properties. It should show up, and we're just looking for this at the signs, okay? Grab your notebook where you're taking notes, and we're going to look at how the sun, the moon, and the rising help you to shape your values. So your sun is how to express yourself, like what you need to really grow and to really thrive. Your moon is the emotional processing, what you need to feel safe and supported. And the rising is how you show up, how the world operates from your point of view. So from your sun, your moon, and your rising, we're going to operate and from these three, they're not really planets, we call them planets, like planets, to understand your values, doing some value exercises. So on your piece of paper, I want you to write your sun, moon, and rising. Maybe you're taking notes on your report. I know some of you like to print it out. So make sure that you have your sun sign written out, your moon sign, your rising sign, and maybe jot down some notes on how each one will play into your values. So the sun is how to express yourself, what you need to really thrive and grow. Your moon is that emotional processing, what you need to feel safe and secure. And your rising is how you show up and how the world operates from your point of view. Okay, let's see if we have any questions here. Okay. Let's see. Christina says, I had a vision during meditation 6 years ago that I'm supposed to be doing team building using natal charts and elements. This year I started to Google to see if anyone else is doing it. Yes, it is me. I am sharing this strange, oh my gosh, I was so scared just to share, like, I guess I'll do astrology for like for teams and for corporate clients. I'm like, are people gonna think that I'm like nutso? No. I've had a lot of people reach out to me being like, hey, so I'm also going to start like a business that's similar to yours, or oh, like I really love that you do astrology for team building. So I love that, Christina. Okay, so we're gonna move into values now. And here is a list of all the signs. You can take a screenshot of this. So I want you to find your sun, your moon, and your rising and write down what I like to say, some of like the values or the feelings, the characteristics that kind of match the sign. So for myself, I value recognition, loyalty, appreciation, and expression, as well as hard work, structure, success, and achievement. Leslie says, I'm so scared to use it in my program. I just started a new job and just nonchalantly told my coworkers, and nobody thought it was weird. I think you might have said something earlier that I missed, but I'm assuming it's astrology. Let me tell you, people are quite open to it. We're in a good time. Saturn's in Pisces. People are feeling spiritual. They're very curious about these modalities. Oh, yes, Carol, I love that. Yes. Interesting that my moon and rising sign are the same Sagittarius. That happens quite often. One time I met someone with like, I think they had like Aries straight across the board. Sometimes it's all the same sign. It's really unusual. No, it's not that rare. A lot of people will have like two that are the same. I mean, a lot of people like that. Ashley says my moon and rising are both Sag 2, Virgo, Sun. Yes. Cool. All right, so I think everybody probably wrote this down or screenshotted it. And now I have some reflection questions. So I'll give you a couple minutes, play some music again, and just really free write here. What are your values? How do they translate into your work? Like your current job, do they reflect your values right now? And as you're looking for a new job, things that you have an eye on in terms of applying to, companies you're doing informational interviews for, do they match your values? Sometimes when we are looking for a job, we're just like, I just want to find my next thing. Like, I don't want to like sometimes like I felt this, like I don't want to spend too much time. I hate applying to jobs, but it's really, really important that you come into alignment and be honest with yourself, or you're just going to be bored in that job 6 months into it, 3 months into it. And then you have to start the cycle all over again. So be honest with yourself. What do you really want? And that starts with your values. Leslie is asking, do you focus on potentials? I notice I tend to focus on the positive when I'm doing readings. I focus a lot on positive and growth-oriented interpretations of someone's birth chart, and much more focused on the here and now and how to better understand yourself so that you can heal, feel more confident, and take action to move forward in your career or your business. I'm not really into predictions, not very helpful, and not the way that I read charts as well. Okay, we have a question. Alice, can you explain how emotional freedom, expression, or intuition led might show up in a career? So this might be your like ability to be more creative, as well as feeling safe in sharing what's on your mind. Emotional freedom and expression. There are certain organizations where you really don't bring yourself to work, you just get the job done. And for someone who has like the emotion needs emotional freedom or expression, it can be translated into being able to feel like safe and feeling that emotional connection with like their like team members, with their supervisor, being able to be very creative, and also really being able to develop and foster a sense of trust with like the people on the team so that they can really operate from an intuition led space. And I would say like working with people who are also very spiritual, because I believe I wrote that for Pisces. Okay. Let's see. Patrice says, terrific exercises. These astrological values match the values I had identified a bit ago with the career counselor. Challenge has been finding work aligned with these values: Taurus sun, Leo moon, Cancer rising. Yeah, sometimes it may not be really obvious, like when you're applying to that job. So you got to use your intuition, read between the lines, and just be like, you know what? I feel like it checks off most of the boxes, and maybe I'll have an opportunity the longer I'm there to explore some Leo characteristics. Oh, yes, it's Pisces. Thank you. I will work on refining that a little bit more so it makes more sense. So thank you for your feedback. Okay, so we're gonna move on now. Okay, abundance activation and your magnetism. This is not your typical job workshop or even astrology focused job workshop. So I thought to myself, like the last workshop, I focused on like nodal placements. We all know our nodal placements now, especially if you look at your free report, especially the expanded report. It's that last paragraph, that last line about jobs that will really kind of like light you up, feel like very growth oriented. And again, if you don't really resonate with your North Node, that's normal as well. I would say like most people do, but sometimes people don't. And that's why I would recommend you looking at your Saturn placement, your second house, your sixth house, your 10th house slash midheaven. Okay. All right, so we're looking at your Venus placement and your second house. So go back to your handy dandy report, and I want you to go to the chart properties and look for your Venus placement. It could be in Gemini, it could be in Leo, and your Venus, most of the time people talk about Venus in terms of, oh, this is like the planet of love, so it's about love. It's about like who you connect with, but really when I translate the definition, the meaning, the significance of the planet Venus for career and business, it is sales, it is marketing, it is your magnetism. It's what people come to you for, like you're something that you're naturally good at that will bring about more abundance and really activate your abundance as well. And I know some of you probably are thinking or in the chat, you're like, wait, but there's like other, yes, there's lots of other placements. Venus is not the only one that talks about how you can make money, the types of products and services that you can offer, your skill sets, your like, there's so many different things. But for today, I wanted to offer something new that I don't talk too much about in the free report. I do mention a little bit more in the expanded report, but not really in this way. And actually, this is a first look at probably a big change that I'll be making to the expanded career astrology report and adding more information about how Venus can give you some information about how you can really activate your magnetism, as well as how you can better sell yourself and market yourself, especially if you have your own business, but also really good when you're like kind of in a large matrix organization and you need to play the politics. Okay, and then we're going to talk about the second house, which is all about money and self-worth. I like to describe it as an easy way for you to make money. Venus and second house equals your abundance portal. I made that up. But these two things I thought would be really fun, really eye-catching for you to understand, like, okay, what is my abundance portal? What are some of like my gifts? What are some of the places that, I can explore that I could work in, that can really kind of fill my wallet, fill my bank account? Okay, let's see. We have some questions here. Okay, your second house can be empty, but it has a sign. Don't worry. Do not worry. Venus is in my eighth house. I don't like it there. Oh, you guys are so funny. Venus is in my second house of Libra. Okay, right. Oh, I just remembered I still have to answer the questions that came through in the chat from the last workshop. Oh, it's been a crazy last few ones. Okay, I'm going to get to that and then I'm going to get to your questions in this chat too. I'll review them because I can't answer all of them during our session, but I'm glad you guys are chatting. And be on the lookout for like more Instagram stories, more newsletters that answer your questions as well. But I haven't forgotten. I did forget, but I haven't forgotten that I need to get back to you about some of those questions. Okay, so now we're getting into the houses, just so that everybody kind of knows a bit of background for those who are a bit of the newbies. So this is your birth chart. We have 12 houses. Each of the houses are ruled by a specific sign, and we are focused on the second house today. But here are all the different houses so you can understand what each one means. So I know Carol earlier today in the chat asked a question of like, I don't understand how to like, read for like the planets, the signs. So, okay, let's say like you're, let me try to think like a good example. So Venus, the planet of attraction, of who you're attracted to, what you attract, what's something that you're really good at, your values also. Venus also describes your values, what you value in others. And yours is in Gemini in the seventh house. So what does that mean? With Venus is in Gemini, you really value like ideation, like knowing things, information, connecting with others. And in the seventh house, it's really like where you see this manifest in your life is in your relationship with your business partners, like just relationships in general that you feel very drawn to really communicate a lot, develop a lot of relationships and kind of being very much so a social butterfly. Both of those are air signs, Gemini and Libra, which is the seventh house. So there's a lot going on there in terms of engaging with people. So that is an example. But if you're new to astrology, it can be a little overwhelming. So that's why today we're really focused on the second house of money, income, resources, and self-worth. But I wanted to just kind of give a general slide so you understand which like each of the numbers mean each of the house numbers. Okay, so we're going to be looking at this middle paragraph of your report, specifically the second house, because it's not so easy to find the second house like on like the wheel, that birth chart, or in the chart properties. So to make it easier, you can see the second house is here. That's going to be kind of like the um actually I just realized that that is your second house, but it may not be obvious to you to what it is. So apologies, that is something that I have to work through, but you can pop it into the chat. There's not too many of us here, so I'll be able to answer it as well. And I'll be sure to follow up so that in this recap, it'll be a lot more clear. So we're going to look for our second house here and also the Venus placement. So Venus placement, what people come to you for, your magnetism, plus your second house of money. So I know that those who have your expanded report, it is easy to find your second house. I believe it's the second to last page in your expanded report. So you'll be able, I think probably half the people in this room have their expanded report. So go to your expanded report and look up what it says. It could be Libra, it could be Leo, and for everyone else, like pop into the chat so I can answer it for you. Oh, Jill already asked, like, where do I find the expanded report? Answer that. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Hmm. Where do we find the second house and the expanded report? Think about Northman, second house. Taurus. Christina, then that means most likely your second house is Taurus. And then someone has said, Elise, your second house starts with Leo and ends with Virgo. Yes, it has both elements of it. But generally speaking, I would go with Leo first. It might have some Virgo elements, but it's pretty Leo dominant. And you can look at that in your expanded report. Okay. Second house is Leo. What if you don't have a 2 at all in your houses on your chart? Oh yeah, Brittany, that doesn't matter. So that just means that there aren't any planets in the second house. That's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean that you don't have a focus. I'm trying to think, I don't remember your chart exactly, but if you go to that like middle paragraph, and I'll go back there again, like this part, and you type it in here, you can like DM me or you can just drop it in here. I'll be able to tell your second house. I mean, I wrote it, so I know exactly all the different phrases. Okay, second house Sagittarius, second house Cancer, second house Libra, second house Taurus,
Second house is ruled by Scorpio. My Venus in Scorpio. Ooh, that is very beautiful. Lots of transformation has been happening, Leslie, for you these last 2 years. Second house is Capricorn. Second house, Taurus. Venus is Scorpio in the first house. Second house is in Sagittarius. Yes, this is true. Okay. Venus is, oh, we got a lot of Venus and Scorpio friends. Okay, I love that. Oh, okay, and like most people knew like all their placements. We weren't too lost after all. Wonderful. Iterations for the next version of the free report. Let's see. Venus in Virgo. Report says Capricorn in my second house with a chart that the planet. Oh yeah. So we're not looking at the Venus house. We're looking at the second house. So you'll use the Capricorn placement. And then your Venus, I can't remember what your Venus is, but your Venus is in the sign, like whatever sign, we'll use that. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, so are you ready? Here we are. I've listed everything out for you so that you can take a screenshot here and start to figure out kind of like what is your abundance portal. So for mine, I'll give an example. My Venus is in Gemini and my second house is Aquarius. And what does that mean? That means that people come to me for a lot of information. It is a teaching sign as well, a storyteller. It's writing. So Gemini and Sagittarius are really deep in communication and writing. And Capricorn is hardworking. Oh wait, no. Aquarius, it's innovative, technological, unique, and community driven. So, how has this manifested in my life? So, when I was working a corporate job, it was really easy for me to make money in technology related things. So, my career really took off actually in college. Like, I was doing consulting work in social media. And then when I moved to Shanghai, I worked in social media there as well. And it was just insane because people would try to poach me all the time. It was such a new industry. And I'd be like, oh no, I just got into this job. And literally people who worked in my industry changed jobs every 6 months, every year. It was a crazy turnover rate. There just weren't enough people who knew like what to do. And yeah, it was very easy for me to make money, but at that time, I didn't really think of it in that perspective. And Gemini, it's a communication sign. If you look, if for those who have like a North Node in Gemini, like that last paragraph is like working in PR, working in communications, being an influencer. And so I was working in a PR agency, but those things didn't really feel right. And how it manifests itself now is Gemini. It's all my written reports, the free ones and the expanded ones. It's my newsletters, it's my content on social media. And Aquarius is very technological, it's very unique, it's like really helping the collective. And for me, it was making a career astrology website that is very unique. No one else has made something like this before. And it's really making astrology more accessible to more people and helping a larger group of people figuring out their career. So that is a bit of an interpretation that you can have. A nice example. OMG, I scream when you put this up. When I had my business, many of the Sagittarius second house activities are exactly what I was doing. There are also how I'm finding ways to thrive in my corporate role. Oh, I love that. Okay. Yeah, it's really interesting, this information. Ashley says, I'm an event planner balancing structure, Capricorn second house, and creativity, Venus in Leo. So I gave you two examples, one in my old life when I was like in corporate and one as an entrepreneur. So you can see how they manifest themselves a little bit differently. And our final exercise, and I know we're at 6 o'clock now, we'll go until like 6:15, is going to incorporate the North Node job
up as well because my North Node is in Pisces, so it requires me to explore spirituality, my intuition, my psychic ability, which is why I shifted, kind of like my abundance portal shifted a little bit. And now this one feels much more aligned. Okay, more journaling exercises. So we're looking at our report again. And this last section here, this last sentence, this is all about your North Node. And you'll see your North Node in the chart properties as well. And for those who have the expanded report, you have like 1 or 2 pages for your North Node in terms of like ideal jobs, like lots of information in there for you. Okay. So journaling exercises. How are you already embodying your Venus and second house placement? What types of jobs are you drawn to after taking into account your values, your abundance portal, and your job possibilities based on your North Node? So we'll do about like a good 5 minutes of journaling here to really kind of bring all this information together. Elise says, no shit, why I never had any money. I couldn't tap into my Leo second house, but I could in Virgo second house. Oh, no, Venus, Aquarius eighth house, more like South Node, Taurus, 10th house vibes. How do I find the North Node on the free report? It's in the chart properties, and it is the last sentence of the third paragraph. So read the last sentence in the third paragraph, and it is on the chart properties as well. You'll see like North Node and the sign. No, that's okay. I know it's easy to miss. I mean, I feel like it's a miracle that we're able to communicate, hop on this Zoom call during a Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, as now everybody knows I have strong Capricorn placements. So it's in some ways it's been difficult to communicate, other ways very easy. Okay, I'm gonna put on some music finally. Get to journaling.
I've been typing some answers away in the chat box to give you a bit of silence as you journal away. All right. The journaling questions again, if you need them, take a screenshot. I know we covered a lot of information today. I don't think I have any time to answer Q&As, but drop your questions in the chat right now and I will review them next week when I'm offline and kind of put up like a Q&A, anonymous Q&A like bulletin board somewhere on my website and link it in a newsletter / email you guys it so you can get all that information. I will be doing more free workshops. I'll do one probably each month. And if you haven't gotten your expanded report, when I send out the follow-up email this evening, I will send you a discount code. It's probably the final discount code that I'll do for quite some time. So if you've been thinking about the expanded career astrology report, I highly recommend that you get it now. And if you get it tonight, I will give it to you tomorrow, by tomorrow evening, early Saturday. That's the last time I'm doing reports for the rest of the year until like mid-January. So if you want to review it in these coming weeks, I really recommend it. I'm also hosting a New Year intention setting sound bath with an astrology forecast for the year ahead. I'll link that in the email follow-up as well. So you have all that information. I hope this session was helpful in that you can have a nice jumping off point for the next job that you'll have. Maybe you have some realizations that you want to start a side hustle or business. I know that it can seem very daunting right now. I have definitely been there, but I believe in you. I know that you'll figure it out. This Mercury retrograde is not doing you any favors. I know this. But trust me when I say, come January 1st, you'll kind of move out of it. And by mid-January, you'll get a lot more clarity. And next week, just for a couple days, we'll have Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. So we're gonna, all that thinking we were doing around like career and success and achievement will kind of translate into higher level thinking around belief systems, philosophy, religion, ways of working and being. So a lot is happening, but all really good things. And next year, I can't wait to share more about 2024 during the New Year intention setting sound bath, because it is a year that I like to describe as one filled with empowerment. So get ready. It's going to be obviously always more changes, but a little bit more stable, fast moving next year, but it's going to be really great. Thank you, everyone, especially if you joined from overseas. We had someone from Singapore, someone from Belgium, probably some other places that I missed. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. Happy holidays, happy new year. I know I'll see you soon, and stay tuned to the virtual events and the in-person Los Angeles events as well. And know that everything's going to be good. Take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. Okay? All right.